Nusapatilabho Sukho Buddhanam Uppado. First of all, I'd like to pay my respects to the Buddha and also the venerables that are on my left and the association Mangal Buddha Bihar that have invited us for this wonderful event. I hope I got it right. Magar Buddhist Society UK. Yeah. And I was told to give a talk on the significance, and hopefully this will address those who did not understand Nepali. मलाई पनि नेपाली बुझेन तर प्रज्ञाश्री भण्टेले भन्नुको सबै बुझ्यो हैन. So it was wonderful reflection on Dhamma and Vipassana and Paticcasamuppada. But again, this is just a short, as the MC said, a very simple format of trying to understand Buddhism to help you understand the significance of such events, as well as on the day when the Buddha was born, which is tomorrow, the full moon day, and we are celebrating it today. And it is always nice, actually, not just to celebrate his birth, and as Venerable Pragyasri said, it is about the understanding of the Dhamma that we would like to have and reflect on it on such days. Yes, we are Nepalese, most of us here, but again, we are not celebrating Buddha Jayanti because of the Buddha being born in Nepal, but actually the wonderful Dhamma, the wonderful teachings, the insight that which we can gain liberation. And by liberation, I mean freedom. So, for such freedom, we always have to be reflective practitioners. Okay. Again, by that I mean something that you turn back and look all the time. I'm sure we all do that in our finance management every week or every month. We look back, have I made profit? Where should I cut down my expenses every month or every week? And if you are a businessman, you'll always look at maybe every day at the end of the day. But that is for the material life, obviously for your income. But what about the spiritual side? Because we do know, we are of two phenomena. Okay, so we have a materialistic life, we also have a spiritual life. In Nepali we call Adhyatmic Jivan. Dainik Jivanma duita चिज हामीले जहिले पनि सधैँ हेर्छ. एउटा चाहिँ भौतिक सम्पत्ति, कसरी पैसा बचाउने, कसरी कमाउने. We always, हामी सधैँ त्यसमा हेर्छ, तर चाहिँ कहिले पनि हामीले आफ्नो आध्यात्मिक जीवनको कहिले पनि हामीले फोकस राख्दैन के. राख्छौँ, तर हामी चाहिँ नि धेरै भौतिक सम्पत्तिमा मात्र ध्यान राख्छ. तर बुद्धले चाहिँ नि यस्तो दिनमा चाहिँ हामीलाई सम्झाउनु भएको छ, यो संसारमा आएर एउटा चिज सम्झाउनु भएको छ. त्यही हो, that is what I'm going to talk about. So after enlightenment, he taught us, that we are, he even actually referred to this. He said, I've been wandering around in samsara. I have been wandering around many births. And I've been trying to find the architect of this body that I actually am in today, now. And he made a bold statement after enlightenment. I have found this architect. The architect is your own craving that is within yourself. that transforms this whole body or your life into many situations. And if you look at that, it is easy to understand that to be born a human, because when he talks about multiple or cycle of births, he was also referring to the number of lives we can be born, not necessarily human. Okay? So when I just hear that word, I feel, will I have similar opportunities in my next life? मेरो अर्को जन्ममा म मान्छे भएर जन्मिन पाउँछ कि पाउँदैन के थाहा। त्यस भएर यो संसारमा अहिले हामी मान्छेको जीवन पाएको बेला हामीले यो सबै मौका लिनु पर्यो। And it is this opportunity that we have to appreciate when we have the valuable Dharma in front of us, when we have the Dharma teachers talking about this wonderful, experience and insight. Are we making the most out of it? Are we making a realization of the Dhamma? Because the Buddha said, if you see the Dhamma, then only you see me. Okay? If you see the Dhamma, you see me. Because when he said you see me, it's not about the physical body. It is not about the Buddha born in Nepal. It is about the enlightenment, Buddho, Buddhatva. And the word Buddha means to be awakened. We are all sleeping if you don't realize the Dhamma. And by that, again, it's just literal transfer meaning, where we are deluded, ignorantly deluded in the things that we experience, which we always categorize into likes and dislikes, wants and don't wants. And that can come in a variety of ways, which Venerable Pagyasya also earlier mentioned. We come to some sort of experience to the external world through senses. And there are 6 senses: eye, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. So we come to this experience of the external world through those senses, and the mind is at the center. Okay? So in some commentaries we have, it's like a spider in the cobweb, at the center of the cobweb. So when we see, then we tend to have our focus in the eye. So that focus becomes eye consciousness, chakshu viññāna. And when that eye consciousness then develops some sort of judgment with the object the eye got in contact with, and then we form a judgment. When you form a judgment, we then try to agree with it or disagree with it. Sometimes what we do is we proliferate, we start digging up a lot of information for that judgment. And this is where I think we call, that our mind starts to become conditioned. It becomes conditioned. Okay? And it is in a state sometimes very hard to get out. So I'll come back to this point again. So we have the ear consciousness. So when the ear consciousness is there, the eye consciousness will not be there. So if I see the banana that's in front of me, my whole attention is with the banana. But when I hear someone say something, then although my eyes are open, staring at the banana, my consciousness, awareness is here. And then I don't see this, although my eyes are wide open, but my attention has gone to the ear. So like the spider can go here, and there, and that's how this whole function of the mind takes place. So with that, what do? That's as once we make a judgment, we then have an issue. So that is what the Buddha actually came to this. This was the thing that he found out. And he came to this world to discover, and then told us, this is how the dukkha arises. This is how we sometimes feel sad. I don't want you to use suffering, but I want you to use the word unhappy. We tend to become unhappy with the conditions that we then start to crave for. So in the first sermon after enlightenment, he said, Yampi chang nalabhati tampi dukkham. Anything that you wanted to happen, to be, and it does not happen to your expectation, we tend to have unhappiness. Dukkha, absence of happiness, becomes dukkha. Sukha is happiness. So in essence, so if I wanted the banana to be the banana as I wanted, I'll be quite okay. But then slowly the transformation, the banana, I am still then holding on to the one that I actually saw and wanted it to be. Picture your car, your phone, your lovely dress, your makeup, your age, your health. You want it to be when you started with it, but then slowly it changes, and then it affects us. And then we dislike that situation, and then we tend to be sad. Okay? So that state of mind is what the Buddha would call conditioned mind, because we get conditioned. And the moment we are able to identify this is perhaps when do you stop or try to make it stop getting conditioned. So there's some water here, and this is like our mind, as the Bhante said earlier. It is the external things that make this shaky. So this is a shaken mind now, and it has to stay still, unconditioned, to be unshaken mind, asankhata. So in the Mangala Sutta we recited earlier, Puttassa loka dhammehi cittang yasana kampati. Any person's mind that is unshaken by not just the negativities, but even the goods, sukha, dukkha, ninda, prasansa, labha, alabha. By any forms, your mind should be as still as this. So how do we get this sorted out? We experience this all the time. And this is where the Buddha went to explain something very more complicated, a bit hard to understand in the last point of the explanation of dukkha. And the Buddha said, Sankittena panchapadana khanda dukkha. The panchapadana skandha is, I think, it's very deep, but let me try to help you to understand. It is the grasping, or it is the holding of the secondly formed ideas from those experiences. It is not the banana, but the idea of banana that's in my head. It's not what I heard, but the ideas or the reactions and stuff or whatever I actually got after I saw. It's nothing to do with the banana, but it is the upadana skandha, the resultant formations, mental formations of, that is what we actually then hold on to and then make it a problem. So for example, someone says something about yourself. So this is your mind now. It's very nice. Someone says something about you. Nice water became very dirty. Someone comments about your house or clothes. Tea bag. How long do you want this to be in your head? The more you have it, it's good, isn't it? The more you hold on to into your head, this is how your mind is going to be. Another someone says something about your family. Someone says something about your car, your phone. Maybe put some juice. Maybe put some, I don't know, whatever, curry. Within 1 minute, let's say 60 people said something, 60 seconds, you're going to put so many things into this. And this is why we suffer. Because we are holding on to what we hear, what we see, what we feel, what we touch. And the simple formula the Buddha goes, don't hold on to it, let it go. Don't hold on to it, let it go. So if you make a cup of tea, the longer you put the tea bag in the water, the darker the tea gets. You put it for 1 minute, perfect. If you let it go, it's okay, you can survive. You put it for 1 hour, 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 1 year. And some people find it very hard, especially with the things they like and not like, because even with the likes, they change. With the dislikes, people actually keep on thinking about it. What am I going to say to this person tomorrow? And you can't sleep in your 5-star bed. What am I going to actually, do with this problem? Still here, still here, still here. I have my knee is paining, and you're thinking about your painful knee and personalizing it. My knee. And then the pain becomes double. My head is aching. So headache becomes another headache sometimes. Because the physical experience is quite different to the mental experience. And sometimes we hoard so many things that are quite unnecessary like this, and we think this is a good thing to do. Just like we want to take revenge. We want to say something to be a bigger person. We feel inferior when we don't say something. That's how the norm is. When someone says something, until you say, you feel that you are inferior. That is another ego. You compare yourself to another person. You compare your views. Could be philosophical, could be cultural, could be your customs, human experiences. Trying to understand that grasping of the issues that we like, dislike, that makes it a problem. And if you can let go of that, if you can actually just take the tea bag out as soon as it starts dipping inside, sometimes it might make things easier, because we are not taking that attitude. It's okay to be angry. Sometimes people might say it's not, but some people say now it's okay. The point is, don't take that anger to the next second, to the next minute, to the next day. Don't take your judgment after the traffic light has become green. People do get annoyed. It's human nature. We can like and dislike things. I know we are not enlightened like the Buddha, but our skill that we develop through meditation and through vipassana is trying to stop the tea bag going into the cup. And you can prevent it happening. That mindfulness is what we develop. And this is what I think, the significance of, celebrating the message of the Buddha is trying to internalize this practice. How can we start learning to do these things? So, the practice that we actually do is more important. How we actually bring this deep practice into our day-to-day lives. You can meditate when you're driving, not closing your eyes. You can do many things anytime. So the point I'm trying to make here is, as we know, our human experience is sometimes your own experience. What we experience, what we see, what we hear, what we touch, is that what conditions the state of your mind? And if you are in control of that, you can be kind to yourself, you can love yourself. If you're not in control of that, no matter what you do externally, materialistically, there won't be a point. You can build a 5-star mansion, 5-star bed, but if the state of your mind is always in stress, always in agitation, always in distress, always angry, always about thinking about someone or something, what someone said, and your mind is always like this, you cannot sleep at all, no matter what physically you are, having. So the Buddha said, to enjoy life, to be happy, to experience the peace of mind, what the Buddha tried to experience, we can try to get a feeling, a hint of what it is to attain nirvana, is trying to make this glass of water the still mind, try to make it calm, try to make it peaceful, try to stop judging others, don't always live with a judgmental attitude, and that itself will bring that happiness. So, to make the most out of this human birth in the endless sansaric life, it is important that we understand this message of the Buddha, Sukho Buddhanam Uppado. That is why the birth of the Buddhas are quite pleasing and happy, because we can practice this. When we practice this, we can develop that confidence that we need to practice. So when you understand this, because as a layperson, there are 4 things you could do easily to attain that practice. And this was told in the Vyaggapaja Sutta. You develop some sort of confidence in the Buddha. I would not want to use the word bhakti in Buddhism. Bhakti can generate a bit of fear. You do things because you're not understanding, but because you're told, and then you develop some sort of devotion. But what the Buddha said was, through the knowledge of the Dhamma that we just discussed, we develop some sort of conviction and strength. And the deepest strength that we develop is called Shraddha, Saddha in Pali. And that is the confidence that we need to have in to practice Buddhism. A very nice example is if you are in your own house, even if the lights go off, you can still find something that you have in your house. But you are very confident. But if I were to come to your house and you ask me, can I have a glass of water in the dark, I will not be able to even find the tap because I don't know. But when you know the Buddhism that we spoke and we learned today, you develop some sort of conviction and strength. And that is what is important to practice Buddhism. When you have that strength, then you will follow the footsteps of the Buddha. Then second element is sila, the discipline, which we observe 5 precepts. You develop some sort of discipline through those precepts. And with that sila, what we do is we become mindful to actually cut down your habits as well. You slowly reduce the things that you think are not good. Again, going back to the being a reflective practitioner, okay, think every day, have I actually done something to break my precepts? So tomorrow you don't do it. So it's a gradual practice, step by step. But the first thing is the concern about your well-being, not just physical, but mental well-being. Am I torturing my mind? Am I making my mind mentally unhealthy? 1 in 4 people in this country, or in the world maybe, tend to develop some sort of mental issues, what we call sometimes stress or whatever, and that is solely because of all the things that what we just explained before. So are we able to actually help ourselves first? As Bhante said earlier, when you actually are angry with someone, you torture yourself first. When you actually crave for something, you torture yourself first. So be mindful. Okay, so that mindfulness helps you to actually work that far as well. And the third one is what we just said, chaga, which is about letting go. So try to release, the things that you think that are harmful for yourself, like the attitudes, the judgmental attitude, the stress. Don't take it. Just try to ease yourself out. Okay. So, and the last one is panya, with developing wisdom. Wisdom is about trying to understand that things do happen, and when they do happen, they also have the nature of change, which means if it is an unhappy thing, it might just go away as well. Even if it is a happy thing, don't overjoy, because that might turn into a sadness. So the understanding of impermanence is a very important factor to develop wisdom in Buddhism. So faith, discipline, letting go, and wisdom. Wisdom can be developed through impermanence or understanding of impermanence. So you can see the Buddha cannot help you to do that, but can only guide you. He can only show you the path. This is the way. So it's always nice to remember Buddhism is like a DIY job. You have to do it yourself. No one can do it for you. You have to try to practice what we learned today from the morning till maybe later on. Give it a go. Try it. No religion says, come and try and see, come and question, come and explore. Most of the religions will say, this is it, do it. Whereas Buddhism will say, you have the right to question, explore, try. If it fits you, take it. There will be something that might fit you. So this is what the freedom of thinking that we got from the Buddha. So during the time when things were really prescribed, the Buddha actually gave us this freedom of thinking, the ability to do things for yourself, ability to achieve salvation or liberation without anyone's help, but just guidance. And you have the human ownership of it. You have the potential, as the Buddha did, to actually do it yourself. We don't have to pray to someone to get salvation. It is that human potential that you have And we all have that, not just the men, but also women, the Buddha said. And therefore, we have the Bhikkhuni order also being, or women are allowed to become priests, nuns during the Buddha's time, when the time they were just put down into the houses and do house jobs. So the freedom of thinking to freedom of society and freedom to any person, not just the Shastriya caste or not just the Brahmin caste, but any person could actually practice this. And he gave a very good example. All the people in all castes are like rivers flowing. And where do they meet? Sea. And when they meet in the sea, you can't say this water is from Brahmin caste, or this water is from Shastriya caste, or this is, in Nepal, then we have so many Jat Path. We can't say this water is from there when it goes to the sea. We're all one humankind. And that's how we develop this unanimous way. Similarly, when there's a problem, we can't say this is Nepalese headache or a British headache. Headache is headache. And when you universalize this concept of oneness, we can then truly try to understand what the Buddha understood as well. And this is what the key message and the significance of Buddhism is, in trying to understand, at least on a day like this, when you celebrate the birth of the Buddha in this world. Thank you.